Logan Banks was a survivor. In a world where the weak were trampled and the strong thrived, Logan had learned to navigate the treacherous paths of the urban jungle. His life was a testament to resilience, a story of grit and determination. Born and raised in the urban jungle, he knew hardship. The streets were his school, and every corner held a lesson. He learned early on that trust was a luxury he couldn't afford. Empty stomach, cold nights, and the constant threat of danger were his daily companions. The cold bit into his bones and hunger gnawed at his insides, but he never let it break him. The sting of betrayal, these were his teachers. Friends turned foes, promises broken, and dreams shattered. Each betrayal was a lesson, each disappointment a stepping stone. His playground was the unforgiving concrete maze, a place where only the cunning survived. The city was a labyrinth of opportunities and pitfalls, and Logan had become adept at navigating its complexities.
I learned to run, to hide, to blend into the shadows. The city taught me to be invisible, to move without being seen, to take what I needed to make it through another day. Survival was a game, and I played it well. I took what I needed, never more, never less.
He saw the gleaming towers of the wealthy, symbols of a world he could only dream of. The contrast between his reality and theirs was stark, a daily reminder of the inequality that defined his existence. Fast cars, luxury yachts, and private jets. These were the trophies of a life he craved. They represented freedom, power, and a life without limits. Private jets, these were the trophies of a life he craved. He dreamed of a day when he could leave the grime and struggle behind, when he could taste the sweet nectar of success. He saw the injustice, the disparity, the raw deal life had given him. The city was a place of stark contrasts, where the rich lived in opulence and the poor struggled to survive. And he decided to even the score. He wasn't content to be a victim of circumstance. He would take control of his destiny, no matter the cost.
My anger simmered, fueled by a sense of injustice and a desperate need for something more. I was tired of being on the outside looking in. I wouldn't accept my fate. I was determined to change my story, to rewrite the narrative of my life. I would carve my own path, even if it meant breaking every rule in the book. The city had its rules, but I had my own.
He would become a legend, a modern-day Robin Hood, taking from the rich and giving to, well, mostly to himself. But in his mind, he was justified. And giving to, well, mostly to himself. He saw it as a form of justice, a way to balance the scales. But the legend had to start somewhere. Every journey begins with a single step, and Logan was ready to take his. The city was his canvas, and he was ready to paint his masterpiece. He stood on the rooftop, looking out over the city that had shaped him. The sun was rising, casting a golden glow over the concrete jungle. It was a new day, a new beginning. With a deep breath, he descended into the streets, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The city was alive, bustling with energy, and Logan was ready to claim his place in it. He knew it wouldn't be easy. There would be obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But he was prepared. He had the skills, the determination, and the fire within him to succeed. As the sun set on the city, Logan felt a sense of hope. He was ready to take on the world, to carve out a future that was his own. The concrete jungle was his domain, and he was its king. And so, with a determined look in his eyes and a fire in his heart, Logan Banks stepped into the night, ready to write the next chapter of his story. The concrete jungle awaited, and he was ready to conquer it. Logan's journey began with petty theft. A wallet here, a phone there, just enough to keep him fed and off the streets. But he craved more. The city was a vast playground, and Logan was just beginning to understand the rules of the game. Each small theft was a lesson, a step towards something bigger. He watched the people around him, the way they moved, the way they lived. He saw the divide between those who had everything and those who had nothing, and he decided he would not be on the losing side. The nights were long and cold, but Logan's determination kept him warm. He would find shelter wherever he could, sometimes in the back alleys, sometimes on park benches. The city never slept, and neither did he. He was always on the lookout, always planning his next move. The hunger in his belly was a constant reminder of why he did what he did. But it wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about ambition, about proving something to himself and to the world. He saw the sleek cars, the symbols of wealth and freedom, and he knew he had to have them. They represented everything he wanted: power, respect, a way out of the life he was living. He would stand on the street corners watching the cars go by, imagining himself behind the wheel. The roar of the engines, the shine of the paint, the smell of the leather seats. It was intoxicating. He knew that if he could just get his hands on one of those cars, everything would change. The symbols of wealth and freedom were more than just objects to Logan. They were a promise of a better life, a life where he didn't have to worry about where his next meal would come from or where he would sleep at night. He dreamed of driving along scenic routes, the wind in his hair, the world at his feet. He wanted to feel the power of the engine beneath him, to know that he was in control of his destiny, and he was willing to do whatever it took to make that dream a reality. And he knew he had to have them. The determination in his eyes was unmistakable. He would reach out, almost touching the cars, feeling the energy they radiated. It was as if they were calling to him, urging him to take the leap. He spent hours studying them, learning everything he could about their make and model, their security systems, their weaknesses. He was preparing himself for the moment when he would finally make his move.
My nimble fingers learned to bypass alarms, hot wire ignitions, disappear into the night. I became a phantom, a whisper in the wind, leaving a trail of bewildered owners and baffled police in my wake. Each successful theft was a victory, a testament to my skills and my cunning. I moved through the city like a shadow, unseen and unstoppable. The thrill of the chase, the adrenaline rush of success, it was intoxicating. I was living on the edge, and I loved every minute of it. A whisper in the wind, I became a master of my craft. The city was my playground, and I knew every corner, every alley, every hiding spot. The rustling of the trees, the deserted streets at night, they were all part of my world. I moved with confidence, knowing that I was always one step ahead. The police were no match for me. They were always a step behind, always trying to catch up. But I was too fast, too smart. I was a ghost, a legend in the making, leaving a trail of bewildered owners and baffled police in my wake. They couldn't understand how I did it, how I managed to slip through their fingers time and time again. The empty parking spots, the vacant docks, they were all evidence of my success. The confusion on their faces, the frustration in their eyes, it was all part of the game, and I was winning. Each heist was a new challenge, a new opportunity to prove myself, and I relished every moment of it.
His playground expanded from the city streets to the marinas, where luxury yachts bobbed like sitting ducks. He mastered their electronics, their quirks, their vulnerabilities. The yachts were a new frontier, a new challenge. They were bigger, more complex, but also more rewarding. The thrill of taking one of those massive vessels, of navigating the open waters, it was unlike anything he had ever experienced. He spent hours studying them, learning their systems, their weaknesses. And when the time came, he was ready. He mastered their electronics, their quirks, their vulnerabilities. The yachts were a new challenge, but one he was more than capable of handling. He learned to navigate their complex systems, to bypass their security measures, to take control of them with ease. Each successful heist was a testament to his skills, a reminder of how far he had come. The yachts were a symbol of his success, a sign that he was no longer just a petty thief, but a master of his craft. Each successful heist fueled his confidence, his daring, his hunger for more. The thrill of the chase, the adrenaline rush of success, it was intoxicating. He was living on the edge, and he loved every minute of it. The yachts, the cars, they were all part of his world now. He was no longer just a thief, but a legend. And he knew that as long as he kept pushing himself, kept taking risks, he would continue to succeed. He was good at this, better than he ever imagined. The skills he had honed over the years, the lessons he had learned, they all came together to make him the best. He moved with confidence, knowing that he was always one step ahead. The thrill of the chase, the adrenaline rush of success, it was intoxicating. He was living on the edge, and he loved every minute of it, better than he ever imagined. The surprise on his face, the smile of satisfaction, they were all part of the journey. He had come a long way from the days of petty theft, from the nights spent sleeping on park benches. He was a master of his craft, a legend in the making, and he knew that as long as he kept pushing himself, kept taking risks, he would continue to succeed.
The thrill of the chase, the adrenaline rush of success, it was intoxicating. I was living on the edge, and I loved every minute of it. The high-speed chases, the narrow escapes, they were all part of the game. And I was winning. Each successful heist was a new challenge, a new opportunity to prove myself, and I relished every moment of it. The adrenaline rush of success, it was intoxicating. The celebrations, the victories, they were all part of the journey. I was living on the edge, and I loved every minute of it. The city lights, the thrill of the chase, they were all part of my world. And I knew that as long as I kept pushing myself, kept taking risks, I would continue to succeed. I was living on the edge, and I loved every minute of it. The view from the top, the feeling of being in control, it was all part of the journey. I had come a long way from the days of petty theft, from the nights spent sleeping on park benches. I was a master of my craft, a legend in the making, and I knew that as long as I kept pushing myself, kept taking risks, I would continue to succeed. And I loved every minute of it. The triumphs, the victories, they were all part of the journey. I was living on the edge, and I loved every minute of it. The thrill of the chase, the adrenaline rush of success, it was intoxicating. I was a master of my craft, a legend in the making, and I knew that as long as I kept pushing myself, kept taking risks, I would continue to succeed.
Logan's ambitions soared beyond the confines of land and sea. From a young age, he was captivated by the idea of flight, the freedom it represented, and the endless possibilities it offered. He would spend hours watching planes take off and land, dreaming of the day he could be the one in the cockpit, controlling his destiny. He set his sights on the ultimate prize, the sky. The allure of the open skies called to him like a siren song, promising adventure and escape from the mundane. Logan knew that to achieve his dreams, he would need more than just passion. He would need skill, knowledge, and an unyielding determination. Private jets, symbols of ultimate freedom and exclusivity, became his obsession. He fantasized about the luxury and power they represented, imagining himself soaring above the clouds in a sleek, powerful machine. The idea of owning and piloting such a magnificent aircraft consumed his thoughts, driving him to learn everything he could about aviation. He devoured books on aeronautics, studied flight manuals, and immersed himself in the world of aviation. Logan's thirst for knowledge was insatiable. He wanted to understand every aspect of flying, from the mechanics of the aircraft to the principles of aerodynamics. He knew that mastering these concepts was essential to achieving his dreams. He spent hours observing airport operations, watching the planes come and go, studying the routines of pilots and ground crews. Logan's dedication to his goal was unwavering. He was determined to learn from the best and apply that knowledge to his own pursuits. The airport became his classroom, and every takeoff and landing was a lesson in the art of flight.
My natural intelligence and street smarts, honed by years of survival, made me a quick study. I absorbed information like a sponge, quickly grasping complex concepts and applying them to real-world situations. My ability to think on my feet and adapt to changing circumstances gave me an edge in the competitive world of aviation. I learned the intricacies of avionics, understanding the sophisticated systems that kept planes in the air. From navigation to communication, I mastered the technology that pilots relied on to safely guide their aircraft through the skies. This knowledge was crucial to my success, giving me the confidence to take on even the most challenging flights. I studied the rhythm of air traffic control, learning the language and protocols that governed the flow of air traffic. I practiced listening to ATC communications, deciphering the rapid-fire exchanges between pilots and controllers. This skill was essential for navigating busy airspace and avoiding potential hazards. I also discovered the vulnerabilities of airport security. By observing and analyzing security measures, I identified weaknesses that could be exploited. This knowledge was invaluable, allowing me to move through restricted areas undetected and execute my plans with precision.
His first successful plane heist was a masterpiece of planning and execution. Logan's meticulous preparation paid off as he flawlessly executed his plan, slipping through security and taking control of the aircraft. The thrill of the heist was exhilarating, and the sense of accomplishment was unlike anything he had ever experienced. He slipped through security checkpoints, bypassed alarms, and navigated the complex web of airport surveillance with ease. Logan's expertise in aviation and security made him a formidable adversary, capable of outsmarting even the most sophisticated systems. He hot-wired a Cessna like he was born to it, his hands moving with practiced precision. The engine roared to life, and Logan felt a surge of adrenaline as he prepared for takeoff. The moment the wheels left the ground, he knew he was destined for greatness. The world gasped as news spread of the Sky Bandit, a daring thief who made off with private jets. Logan's exploits captured the public's imagination, and his legend grew with each successful heist. He became a symbol of rebellion and freedom, a modern-day Robin Hood of the skies. Logan Banks had become a legend, his name whispered in awe and fear. His reputation as the Sky Bandit struck fear into the hearts of those who owned private jets, while inspiring admiration in those who dreamed of escaping the confines of their everyday lives. Logan's story was one of daring and defiance, a testament to the power of ambition and the allure of the open skies. He was untouchable, a phantom in the clouds, living a life most could only dream of. Logan's journey from a dreamer to a legend was a testament to his unyielding determination and relentless pursuit of freedom. As he soared through the skies, he knew that he had achieved something truly extraordinary, and his story would be remembered for generations to come.